All right. So now that we've figured out what we want to have our remix sound like, now we go about the process of figuring out where in the track the sounds will reside. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be going over the common layouts that pop artists and a lot of mainstream artists like to use, and also an alternative route for figuring out your own unique layout if you don't like the cookie cutter approach that a lot of these bigger artists use. So first off, the common layout. The common layout for most of these tracks, again, you can feel free to tweak here and there as you see fit. You'll have an introduction part of your track. You'll have the first main part, the first kind of break, also known as a verse part, that you'll hear a lot of the vocals. Not exactly the most energetic part of the track, yet kind of getting the audience ready for the breakdown, a little pretense for it. Then you got the build up to the breakdown, kind of builds the energy up. And then you have the chorus where a lot of things are going at once. Since it's the first chorus, you don't have everything going at once, but most of the time, a lot of artists will like to bring in their bass all the way in. You'll have your kick drum going in, maybe an offbeat clap to keep things interesting. So your chorus is where everything kind of comes in for the big huge boom to get your audience dancing and all that. Second part is a pseudo break again, is another break again. All you really need to know is that there needs to be a section in here between both breakdowns where the audience gets a little chance to breathe again. And then once the audience has been able to breathe for a little bit, you go to the build up, you go to the second chorus, which is a little bit shorter, but it kind of keeps the energy going. And then you go to the main break, if you want to call it that, also known as the bridge. Now the bridge usually is a little bit on the mellower side. So this is where maybe you have like a little nice just acoustic guitar riff. If you're going for a pop song or something like that, it's something a little bit subtler and kind of maybe this is the part where it pulls out the lighters or something like that. Again, with all elaboration aside, this should be more of one of the most, if not the most mellow part of your song to kind of bring the energy level down all the way. And then once you get past the bridge, you go all the way up to the chorus again. It doesn't have all the elements, I would say. I would suggest maybe putting another little build-up to go right back into the chorus again because at least the transition would seem a little bit jumpy. But that being aside, all you need to know is that after this little break, you go back into your final big crescendo, maybe an extra little crescendo just to, since it's the last one, to elongate it a bit to get all the energy out of the track that you can, and then you slowly fade out with the outro. So that's the common layout. Again, as you heard, I have some personal takes on where you should put certain elements. So feel free, this is a common layout to use, so feel free to use this framework and adjust it as you see fit to your tracks. Now, as I know some of you guys may not necessarily like to be, I don't like the cookie cutter approach, here's a suggestion I have for you guys for figuring out your own sort of layout. So for figuring out your own style layout, you'll need to grab maybe 3 to 5 pieces of paper. Usual printer paper should be fine. At least drawing lines should be, the little guidelines to where to draw are always helpful. Now, next, you want to choose a track you like to listen to a lot that you think has a pretty good layout. And then after that, this process overall should take no more than an hour. I personally find that it's depending on the length of the track. It usually takes me 30 minutes tops, but give yourself an hour just in case you need more time because, again, this might be your first time doing the process, so the longer you can take, the better you'll be able to pick out the nuances of the layout for said track. So once you have a few pieces of paper and your favorite track in hand, I'll draw a line through the middle of the piece of paper, horizontal, of course, and then you want to draw 3 lines here and then divide out the top section to four different boxes up here. And then as a little mental note to yourself, you want to draw, each of these boxes will be representative of 8 bars of the track. If you're not entirely sure what a bar is, I'll be posting a link to a quick discussion about phrasing, bars, all this terminology that's used in track to discuss the timing and layout of a given track. Anyways, all you need to know for this one, guys who do know what a bar is, each of these sections is representative of 8 of them. So once you have that drawn up, you want to go and every 8 bars, you'll write down the sounds as you hear them in these boxes. So again, here's the YouTube link. For those who are interested, I'll probably post it outside because I'm not sure if you're able to access it while watching this video or click directly on the screen. But getting back to the point, as you see here, I'm like listening to a pop song, for example. You may notice that the first section, the first 8 bars, has a synth line, a clap, and trumpets. So you said, okay, I'm going to write down synth line, clap, and trumpets. Then you hear that the next 8 bars is kind of like a mini breakdown, or actually the first breakdown. So you hear a kick, and you hear you hear some bass, you hear synth, and you hear kind of the main vocals coming in. So you're like, okay, write all that down. After you're doing that process for a couple of them, yeah, you know it's pretty straightforward. Next 8 bars, write what you hear. Next 8 bars, write what you hear, and then you keep doing that. At least once you run out of boxes on one piece of paper, you make up another box. Keep doing it over and over again until the song is completed. Then, once you have all your pieces of paper filled out with all the various nuanced elements for each of those 8 bars, you staple them all together, and then you can look back at your pieces. You can look back at your examined pieces of paper and figure out what exactly this artist did that you liked, how exactly he laid out the track. Now, if you do this a couple times, you can kind of start to get a sense of maybe a sort of layout you would like to use, and then you can start developing your own layout from ideas that you got from some other artists. So that's another idea for you guys who don't want to follow the old-fashioned pop route. So that wraps up this section. Let's get on to the next one.